On some interesting texts in the book, Cutting Edge Intermediate Level. So let's work with these materials. Discuss the way you spend your time. Are you happy with the way you spend your time? Research shows that people today have more free time than ever. But do we spend our time on the things that really matter? Or are we wasting time and feeling frustrated? Tick the statements that are true for you. I spend too much time sleeping. I don't get enough sleep. I work, study for too many hours. I don't work enough. I spend a lot of time looking after children, other relatives. I spend a lot of time socializing and going out. I spend too much time of I spend too much of my time on boring activities and tasks. I never really stop. I'm busy all day. I find time for my interests. I'd like to have more time for my interests. I sometimes feel bored because I can't think of anything to do. I don't have enough time for certain important things in my life. I often put off tasks that I need to do. I feel stressed because I don't have enough time to do everything. I waste a lot of time on things that aren't very useful. Memory. The secrets of your memory. Memory expert Professor Jemima Gerznov answers your most common questions about memory. Why can I remember events in my childhood but not what happened last week? We remember the things that have strong connections in our mind, especially emotional connections. Childhood memories are often very emotional. We experience things for the first time, so we have strong feelings of fear or excitement. Retelling events also helps to fix them in our memories, and interesting or funny stories from our childhood are often told again and again. Do some people really have a photographic memory? It is well known that some people have an extraordinary memory. Daniel Tammet, for example, can remember the first 22,500 digits of pi, and Stephen Wiltshire can draw a detailed picture of a city from memory after flying over it in a helicopter. However, neither Daniel or Stephen have a photographic memory. They are good at remembering particular things for a limited time. A person with a photographic memory could remember every detail of a picture, a book, or an event many years later. No one has yet proved that they have a photographic memory in a scientific test. I'm 24. Is my memory getting worse? Not yet, but it will do soon. Our memory reaches its full power at the age of 25. At that point, we can remember up to 200 pieces of information a second. After this age, however, the brain starts to get smaller. By the age of 40, we're losing 10,000 brain cells every day. By middle age, our memory is significantly worse than when we were young. 7 tips for improving your memory. Sleep well. If we don't sleep properly, we lose many of our memories. Do physical exercise. When you exercise, more oxygen goes to your brain and makes your memory work better. Do mental exercise. It is important to exercise your brain just like your body. New activities are more challenging than familiar ones. Be interested. Ask yourself questions about what you're learning. We learn better if we are interested. Keep reviewing. Review information regularly rather than trying to remember it all at once. Have a cup of coffee. Caffeine, like exercise, sends oxygen to your brain and helps you concentrate. Form a mental picture. For example, if you want to remember the name John Keys, imagine his face with a big key on it. The stranger the picture, the better. Read the comments below. Do you have the same or similar experiences to any of the speakers? I can't remember anything before I started school when I was 6. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I definitely think my memory is getting worse. I sometimes go into a room to look for something, but then I can't remember what I'm looking for. I can remember the holiday we had when I was 10 really clearly. It was the first time I went abroad, and it was really exciting. But I can't remember what I did last summer very well at all. My grandma's dead now, but I have this really strange association with her. Whenever I smell ironing, I remember her. I think it's because she used to tell us stories while she was ironing. How well do you remember the past? Can you remember anything that happened to you before you were 3? What were you doing at 3 o'clock last Saturday afternoon? How did you meet your oldest friend or your partner? What was the name of your first teacher and what did she look like? What was the first word you learned in English? What were you wearing in your last English lesson? What did you have for breakfast the day before yesterday? What were you doing when you heard about an important piece of world news? Read about me soon, Emily and Raphael. You will hear them describe their upbringing. What topics do you think they will mention? Raphael Martin, who is half Spanish and half British, grew up and went to school in the same part of London as Mi Soon, whose family is Korean. However, their upbringings were very different. My parents punished us sometimes. We got into trouble if we were rude. If we behaved badly, our parents stopped our pocket money. If I argued with my mom, my dad told me off and felt really ashamed. My parents got angry if we got into trouble at school. In our culture, you should always respect your parents. Our parents only praised us if we did something really excellent. Our parents encouraged us a lot. They didn't often criticize us. They gave me a lot of confidence. Read the extracts about me soon and Raphael's after school activities. Underline 4 verbs with used to. Okay, let's just read those small texts. My mom decided that my brother and I should both learn the piano, so that's what we did. We used to practice for 2 hours every day after school and more at the weekend. Occasionally, I argued with my mom about piano practice, and then my dad would tell me off, and I used to feel very ashamed. After school, we used to play in the street with our friends, football or skateboarding, or we'd go inside and play games on the computer. When I was about 11, I used to love hanging out in town with my friends. I thought I was really cool. The countryside, the coast, the city. Visit or avoid. What's the right type of holiday for you? Get the advice of our travel experts and readers. Valentina is from Chile. She's 27 years old and she loves shopping and sun. She wants to go somewhere special in January or February. Visit Dubai. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the world and it's also one of the best for shopping. What other city has an annual shopping festival? It's a long flight for Valentina, over 17 hours from Santiago, but if she has a couple of weeks to spare, she'll find that cosmopolitan Dubai is right up her street. Avoid most of Europe. Cities like Edinburgh, London, Paris, and Berlin are great for shopping, but there is not much chance of seeing the sun in January or February. Landon is from Australia. He's 24 and he's studying archaeology at university. Landon wants a holiday with lots of local history and culture and a few sandy beaches to relax. He hates crowds and noise. Visit Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. It sounds like a lot of traveling, but there's so much to see. Fly into Bangkok and spend a few days visiting the beautiful floating market, the old city, and of course the Grand Palace, the historic heart of Thailand. With its temples, halls, and extraordinary architecture, it's a must see. Avoid the party islands like Koh Samui. With their full moon parties, these are great for some people, but not for people like you who hate noise. The population of Shanghai in 1990 was 13 million people. By 2010, the population was 23 million. Andre Agassi. Andre Agassi is generally considered one of the greatest tennis players of all time and the greatest returner of the ball in the history of tennis. Agassi was introduced to tennis by his father, Mike, who had been a tennis groundsman during his youth. Mike Agassi trained all four of his children intensively to become tennis professionals, but only Andre, the youngest, showed great talent. Andre went on to win numerous championships and became one of the biggest stars in the history of the game. However, he also suffered from drug and other personal problems. Andrea Agassi is now married to one of the greatest women players ever, Steffi Graf, whose father also trained her hard as a child. Since he retired from tennis, Agassi has dedicated himself to helping poor and abused young people, giving them the chance to have a good education. Agassi and Graf have not taught their children how to play tennis. Nominate someone for an award. Each year, the Inspiration Award is given to an individual who has done one or more of the following things: inspired others to follow their example, done something remarkable to help others, provided an outstanding role model for others, achieved something remarkable against the odds. Nominations can include artists, actors, musicians, leaders, sport personalities, and TV personalities, as well as members of your local community. At the crossroads. Sophia is feeling confused. She's got a difficult decision to make and she doesn't know what to do. She has just graduated from university with a degree in law, but after a 5-year course, she's not sure if she wants to work in law for the rest of her life. She likes working with children, so she has thought about retraining as a teacher. Sophia's boyfriend has asked her to marry him. She doesn't know if now is the right time. She has saved a bit of money and is also thinking of traveling around the world for 6 months. Film quiz. In which country is the largest number of films produced? In which year was the first 3D movie made? In the Harry Potter films, the role of Harry Potter is played by The Academy Awards Oscars ceremony is held in. The Chinese actor Feng Shilong is better known as. The Avatar films are set on the imaginary planet. Which writer's work has been filmed most often? Fadil is Egyptian, but he was brought up in the UK. He is an archaeologist and also runs short trips into the Sahara Desert for tourists. Joel is a British university student. He goes to more than 10 festivals every year. I couldn't live without. I just couldn't do without my jewelry. The first thing I do when I wake up is to put on a necklace. It makes me feel good on a gray morning. I just can't understand why some women save their jewelry for going out. Horror films. I love movies. When I was 10 years old, while everyone else was out playing football, I was indoors watching films. These days, if I want to feel scared, I turn off all the lights and watch The Ring. It's the fastest way around London. I completely rely on it. I don't have a lock, so I never leave it anywhere it can be stolen. London is much more interesting when you see it as a cyclist. I can't do without my Reebok spikes. I've got big size, 12 feet, and these spikes are incredibly comfortable. I started wearing them last year and then became Olympic champion. I am addicted to coffee. My machine is 8 years old. It's not an easy machine to use, but it still makes great coffee. I can't do without it. I even take it on holiday. The toughest decision of their lives. In October 2002, Deborah and Andrew Veal, a couple from southwest London, entered the Ward Evans Atlantic Rowing Challenge. They would race 34 other crews, rowing 5,000 kilometers from Tenerife in the Canary Islands to Barbados in the Caribbean, a journey expected to take 60 days. To do this, each team of two people rows 24 hours a day in shifts of 2 hours. So those are some good materials I found in this textbook.